In 1950, a man named James Wright storms into the Ito dojo, demanding to see Sensei Shunsuke Ito. He wants answers about his father, Benjiro Ito. The story then flashes back to 1942, during the Battle of Bataan in World War II. At the time, James was a Royal Air Force wing commander who was shot down over the Philippines during a combat mission. He was captured by Japanese forces and taken to a prisoner of war camp, where Allied soldiers were forced into hard labor, starvation, and daily cruelty. The man in charge of the camp was none other than Lieutenant Colonel Benjiro Ito, a strict and ruthless commander. Under Ito's orders, his right-hand man, Captain Hirano, was told to execute Wright. But before Hirano could carry it out, Wright fought back, killing Hirano and 2 other soldiers in a desperate attempt to survive. Unfortunately, he was soon captured again and thrown back into the camp. Inside the camp, Wright discovers a horrifying reality. The officers organize underground fighting matches, forcing prisoners to battle one another for the entertainment of their captors. At first, Wright refuses to take part, but after witnessing prisoners executed for disobedience, he realizes he has no choice. Using the martial arts skills he once learned in Hong Kong, Wright steps into the ring. Despite being weak and starved, he fights fiercely and defeats several opponents, even the camp's strongest fighter, Koji. His victories make him a symbol of defiance among the prisoners, but also a target of hatred from Ito and his brutal enforcer, Captain Endo. Ito's fury grows each time Wright wins. In his rage, he even executes his own men who fail to defeat the British pilot. Yet, deep down, Ito is fascinated by Wright's fighting style. He recognizes the forbidden martial arts technique Wright uses, a rare form that only a few masters ever knew. Ito begins to take an unsettling interest in him, wanting to understand the secret behind his skill. Over time, Wright earns the respect and friendship of fellow prisoners, including American Captain Collins and Filipino Sergeant Gabriel Villanueva. They share their suffering, their hope, and their will to escape. Collins tells Wright that in just a week they'll be transferred to an even worse prison, a death camp. If they ever want a chance at freedom, they must act soon. Help also comes from an unexpected source, Teresa, a compassionate local nurse forced to work in the camp's infirmary. She secretly tends to the prisoners' wounds and provides Wright with medical aid. Gradually, a bond of trust forms between them, and together they begin planning a dangerous escape. Their goal: to deliver vital intelligence about Japanese troop movements to Allied forces. One night, Wright sneaks out of the barracks and manages to steal a radio. Hiding in the shadows, he sends out a distress signal, contacting U.S. forces and giving them the camp's location. Later, he tells Collins and Villanueva that help is on the way. The Americans are preparing an air raid. They decide to time their escape during the chaos of the upcoming attack. Meanwhile, Benjiro Ito grows increasingly paranoid. The thought of Allied reinforcements fills him with dread, and he begins to unravel. To maintain control, he becomes even more violent, executing prisoners daily to assert fear. This brutality pushes Wright and his comrades to accelerate their plan. They secretly sneak outside to examine a downed glider, hoping it could be repaired and used to escape. But during the mission, Collins kills a guard who nearly spotted them. The next day, the guards discover the body, and Collins is dragged out and executed as punishment. Soon after, the Allied air raid begins. Explosions rain down on the camp, And amidst the chaos, Wright, Teresa, and Villanueva make their move. They fight their way out, determined to break free from the nightmare. As they attempt to flee, Wright confronts Benjiro Ito face to face. The two engage in a fierce duel, a battle not just of skill, but of honor. In the end, Wright defeats Ito. But in a rare moment of respect, Ito halts his men from shooting Wright. Recognizing his courage and mastery of the forbidden technique, Ito allows him and his group to escape alive. It's an act of redemption, born from the bond shared between warriors. Years later, back in the present day, James Wright stands before Sensei Shunsuke Ito, seeking closure. Shunsuke reveals that Benjiro Ito, his father, died years ago from illness. To honor both men's past, Shunsuke asks James to demonstrate his technique one last time. They bow, face each other, and begin to spar. Wright once again shows the grace and power of the forbidden art, defeating Shunsuke in combat. As a gesture of peace, Shunsuke hands him a medallion, the very same one Benjiro Ito had taken from James during the war. Holding the medallion in his hands, James Wright finally finds closure. The pain of war, the loss, and the hatred all fade, leaving behind only the quiet respect between two generations of fighters, once enemies, now bound by honor.